Callum, if it's okay, we'll start off with you. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Brilliant. Off you go. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Callum. My film is it's called Boyo, and I sort of made it because I'd made like, I don't know, short videos, comedy sort of videos with my friends, but I always wanted to make a proper film. Um, so yeah, and well, in terms of challenges, like no one really knew it existed until about a week before I released it. So I was sort of the director and the only actor in it. Yeah, I filmed it on an iPhone and edited it on iMovie. So yeah, it's quite basic, but that was also quite a good thing because sort of in terms of directing it, you don't have to you don't have to communicate your vision to anyone. You can just think it. So yeah.
Yeah, true. Actually, on this as well, it looks like we are very male friendly, but we do have lots of female filmmakers as well. It just happens to be in this category in this shortlist at present. We're flying the flag for the male filmmakers. Great, Callum, that's great. So obviously with being a solo crew in terms of yourself, it would have brought its own, I suppose, freedoms and liberties, but then you were literally doing it all by yourself. So do you think that's something that you could continue to do? And, do you think you'd be open, obviously, to collaborations as well, given a different set of circumstances?
Oh yeah, I definitely did it sort of more out of necessity than as a
Yeah.
creative choice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely like to work with more people, other people.
Sure. And just a little bit then on, what was it that sort of made you have the get up and go to make this particular film, and sort of the topic, why did you sort of settle on that?
Well, I think sort of because I was making it by myself, it started as something completely different, but then because I've been making it probably about a year, but then slowly it's just sort of changed, and it was more like I'd think, oh, I'm going to a music gig tonight, so I'll film something there, and
Yeah.
then incorporate that into the story. So it's sort of a unorthodox way of doing it, probably not the traditional way, but that's sort of how I built up the story just from things that I was doing.
Yeah, and it was probably more, yes, you probably did have different pressures on yourself, but I suppose if you wanted to do something on an evening, you didn't have to inform 10 other people. You just were like,
Yeah,
right, I'm going to film
I think
this
that
little
certainly helped.
that little segment, or whatever. Um, Great, okay. And overall, was it like about a year ago that you actually did shoot it then? So it was all shot by the end of 2019, was that?
Oh no, so I think the oldest shot in it is probably about, well, I mean, the oldest shot I've taken for it is probably about 18 months old, but then I was filming right over lockdown and stuff, so
Yeah.
it was quite a long process.
Yeah, and
If it,
obviously very much off its time then with it being shot in lockdown, which was probably like a particular stamp on it as well. Um, okay, great. Well, that's brilliant, Callum. It's great to just hear that little background and sort of get an insight to that. So thank you very much. Then we'll go down to Max. Hi, Max. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. It's great to see you. And well done
Yeah,
on being shortlisted.
thank you. Yeah, it's great.
Um, Max has actually been involved in Young Filmmaker for a number of years, and usually travels to Belfast from Dublin for it. But a new platform for us this year, Max.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, well, yeah. Just introduce your film, a little bit about it, and sort of the highs and lows of getting it made, I suppose.
yeah. Hello, my name's Max Hendrickson. I live in Dublin, which is a ways from Belfast, but it's a lot of fun to, drive up and, obviously it couldn't happen this year, but it's really nice that it's happening on Zoom and all. And yeah, so my film I submitted this year was called The Final Act, and it's an animated film, and it's sort of a shorter section of a longer film that I've been working on for probably since January or December of last year. And like it was there's a lot of stuff going on and voice acting and stuff, and I was really trying to get it finished for Cinemagic, but unfortunately I ran out of time, so all I could submit was the last kind of section which I had done, and it was a bit out of context, but it kind of was sort of cool as a standalone piece. So I'm still working on the film, getting the other sections in. Yeah.
And tell us then, maybe with lockdown then it actually gave you a lot more time, or actually you've ran out of time, but in terms of having that extra space, having that extra head space to completely focus on the film, is that something that you found then was good because you were able to spend more time overall on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would have probably struggled to get it finished. I mean, even for the small section for Cinemagic, if it weren't for lockdown and stuff like that, because for like there's a lot of kind of pen and ink drawn stuff in there, like composited into kind of 3D backgrounds and stuff, and so it's quite a time consuming process to draw all the characters and then scan them in and bring them into the computer and cut them out and stuff. So
sure, well, thank you. Thanks for being involved in this capacity, and overall I suppose I just wanted to ask you, Max, what for audiences this time around, what sort of message, I suppose, or what do you want to get across with this film that has been shortlisted? Is it sort of a stepping stone, or kind of like a little bit of a preview then to the other, or to the full piece that you're making as such?
Yeah, I mean, like the full film, would have had a lot more context, I suppose, for the events of kind of this smaller segment, because there's dialogue and characters and stuff like that. And I suppose if I focused a lot more on just getting that like if I knew I was going to get that last piece done, just that last piece done for Cinemagic, I could have, probably focused more on that rather than doing just kind of bits and pieces from the whole part. But yeah, I suppose the film, like the whole film is going to be more kind of story based and leading up to that kind of final part, but like that last part kind of as a standalone piece is just kind of mysterious, I guess.
Super, yes. Well, it is always good to have something that creates a bit of mystery and a little bit of thinking required by the viewer then afterwards. So thank you, Max, that's great. Okay, Callum, I'll go down to Callum, the second Callum on the list. You're very welcome. Again, congratulations on being shortlisted in the competition this year. So tell us a little bit about your film, and again, what inspired you to make it and how the process went for you.
I wanted to make a completely different film, and like the other Callum, I'd been making a lot of more stupid, just comedy stuff with my mates, but there wasn't any production quality behind any of it. It was just sort of filmed on bits and pieces, random parts, and then put together. And I enjoyed those, and I enjoyed making those, but I wanted to make something with a bit of quality to it. So I wrote this. I don't know, it's going to sound a bit weird, but I was just talking to myself as these two different characters, and then I wrote this whole Western script. But then I planned to shoot it, and we all planned to come over to my house to go out and shoot it, but the weather just wasn't great for it, and the wind probably we wouldn't have been able to get good audio. So I was it was about 2 days before they came over, and I just decided to write something about two people in one room, and then I just came up with the idea for the script, and that's how the creative process went for that part. And then whenever they came over, it took us ages to shoot it, just because we started shooting in day, and then we realized it was going to be night, so we had to put bin bags around the windows and stuff so light couldn't get through. And then eventually it was late. It was like 3 a.m, and then we got it finished. But it was an enjoyable experience for it.
Excellent, great. Yes, there's always when there's like problems that arise, it's kind of that whole saying, necessity is the mother of invention. So I'm sure there were a lot of things that you sort of had to problem solve along the way. Well, again, brilliant. Thank you so much for for submitting the film, and well done on being shortlisted. So Callum's film is White and Black, just to keep an eye out for it whenever it is being screened as part of the showcase. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, over to Louis then, please.
Hi, I'm Louis Philpott, and my film was Within. And I guess the main point about the film was that it's a film about 4 boys of my age, so my friends, and because of lockdown, we couldn't all be in the same room and that kind of thing. So I was thinking of ways to like get around that problem. And I thought, well, like, what if we all sat in front of a white wall and then sort of we spoke our lines of dialogue and sort of edited it together so it looks like we're all having a conversation. And then that idea kind of developed into, well, what if we were to buy like big sheets of green paper and use green screen to sort of edit each other onto each other's shots so that we can have like more than one person in one shot. So I guess the plot was then built around that idea, and because of lockdown being sort of a major theme of the film and sort of the setting, towards the end of the film, it's revealed that they're not, like within the film, they're not actually in the same room. This is like a metaphor for a virtual meeting call, like the one we're on right now, that they're talking on. And then, yeah.
Great. So again, a bit of creativity with the situation of lockdown that everybody found themselves in. Great. And that's the thing as well, like in normal circumstances, perhaps you would not have made a film at all in that way, but at least it sort of showed you as well what you were able to do and what we were able to execute, sort of what factors were involved. So brilliant. Thank you. Everybody is very entrepreneurial, especially just when it does come to, when you do have a desire to have something and get something made, there's ways and means around everything. Thank you. Is it Luke then? Is that right?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Luke. You're very welcome.
So my name's Luke Cohen. My film's called Sign, and basically I'd made a few short films at college and outside of college, etc. But I wanted to make a more sort of project I was more passionate about, and lockdown was sort of the perfect opportunity. It was months at home, I could take as much time as I needed. And I had this sort of rough idea of a story I wanted to do, but I wasn't quite sure how to do it. So I've got a younger sister, so I went out with my filming equipment and her one day, and we sort of shot a few stuff in the woods. And then from that, I ended up scripting and storyboard a whole idea that I was really keen to make. So that's how the story developed. Yeah.
And did you have many challenges then with the film? I suppose with the people that were involved in it, it was like family members, but as well as that, was that a way that you got around the casting, for example?
Yeah, well, it was quite difficult on some days because obviously she's only little. She wasn't up for it a lot of the time when there needed to be reshoots and stuff. So it was quite difficult to sort of encourage her to do it. But yeah, I was happy with the end performance. To be fair, I think she did a good job.
Super, that's great. And it's always brilliant to do something that you're passionate about over and above what you're doing for college. When you have that freedom to do something that's just for yourself, as opposed to guidelines around a curriculum or guidelines around a syllabus. So super, brilliant, thank you. Okay, then over to Hedydd. Is that how you pronounce your?
Yeah, Hedydd. Yeah.
Great. Okay, Hedydd, thank you so much for making time this afternoon. So yes, the last year. Tell us how that came about, and congratulations on being shortlisted.
Thanks. Yeah, the idea came around I saw like a post on social media that the BBC were looking for young people and to submit to have a commission. So it was all about drafting an idea you had, just something rough that you could pitch, and then they could choose. So I was thinking what I could do, and it's really fascinating here, everybody talking now, and I think all the films everybody's talking about were made in lockdown, and it's just amazing to see that all the different approaches everybody is taking, because not one of the films are alike. So the film I made was like, it's basically a monologue piece with voiceover, writing a text message, and it was just inspired really by the time I've been alone in lockdown, and it was like Callum was filming. I was basically the only actor, so filming myself walking around, and it was quite a nice project to do, because it's not a lot of times you get to really focus on something without all these outside distractions. So it was really freeing to get to do something that didn't have to get other people involved, or get other people to do things, and just really create your vision and just to put it out in the world.
That's true, and like, yes, there's pros and cons with having a bigger crew or whatever, but as you say, you were able to just go with what you wanted to do, negotiate problems that arose, and then just sort of, suppose got those solutions as well, without having to consult loads of people or have lots of other influencing factors as well.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.